Hey everyone, Sawmill Charlie. Well, it's been a few weeks since I put a video out due to weather conditions here in Maryland. It's been rainy on and off. It's been cold. Lately we've had frost advisories at night. Today's Sunday, April the 28th. It's going to reach 80 degrees today, and it's going to start a week's worth of 80-degree weather during the day and around 60-degree weather at nighttime, which is great. To bring you up to speed on what's been happening in the bee yard, about the first of the month, I had 9 nukes that I sold, and trying to fight the weather. It was raining about every other day at that time, but I finally did get them out. I actually had to put bees in transport boxes while it was mist and rain in order to get everything done. The following week, I always do my annual trip to Georgia to help a friend out to get package bees, and we did that. And then while we were on that trip, I found out the following weekend that my nuke order and queen order that I had made was going to be coming in that following weekend. So around Thursday, I believe it was been rainy and overcast several of those days of that week. I was able to get into the hives here. I wanted to dequeen the honey hives that made it through the winter, which I did, and that gave me about 5 days before the new queens arrived before I installed them, so the hives would be hopelessly queenless, so they would have better acceptance. And that following weekend, as you know, Bob Walker came on up from South Carolina, spent Saturday evening with us at dinner, and then spent all day Sunday with us. And we did a live video, and then he also did 2 other videos and that day. And then we went on up to my friend Lloyd, who's a honey producer, or packer actually, and Man Lake dealer, and spent the afternoon with him. We had a really great time together. If you want to see those videos and live streams, check out Walker Bee Ranch. There's 3 different videos. One is a live stream about an hour and 15 minutes long, and then the other 2 are videos of what he did on the bee area and also the sawmill area on the farm here. The bees are really on me here today. I don't know why. I haven't even gotten into them, but they seem to be sort of a pest, I'll say. So today, since I did all that, and last Tuesday I took off from work and installed 15 queens, and then I also bought 10 nukes to replenish my honey production area, and I took those out of Pro Nukes and put them in woodenware. I'm going to do some different things here in my apiary. I'm going to lean towards more honey production instead of nuke production. Behind me you might be able to see a little bit of change on what everything looks like. I'll take you down the row and explain to you what's going on. I'm downsizing on how many nukes that I have in the yard, mostly nukes for myself for insurance purposes if I have a dead out come next spring. And I'm increasing my honey production hives from 12 to 16, and that's a big increase for me. Hopefully I can produce between 12 and 1,500 pounds of honey come next year. I know I'm not going to be able to do that this year, being the fact that I'm basically rebuilding my yard this year. So today we're going to get into these hives. It's been 5 days since the caged queens have been in there. I want to check to see whether they're released. I'm pretty sure they all are. And take out the cages. I use a rubber band, an oversized rubber band that wraps around the frame, holds that cage in place so it doesn't drop to the floor inside the hive. and remove all those different things and then put them all back together. So let's go ahead and get into the hives. Well, everyone, let's walk down the row here. These are my nukes, and they've been requeened with fresh queens that are mated. There are 12 nukes here. Here is a couple nukes here where that tall one right there actually has the 2 white boxes on top are honey boxes. They were producing honey, and I went ahead and put a 5-frame queen excluder on top of the 2 deeps and put 2 medium honey supers on top. So they're producing honey for me. And then the other tall hive is a nuke that is going to go out probably next weekend to a friend of mine. He's just been busy in his work. Actually, he's probably in Berkeley, California today playing fiddle for a band that he plays for. Flew out for a big bluegrass festival out there, and then he'll be flying back in this coming week. Hopefully next weekend he'll have off, and I'll take a nuke over to him and visit him and check his hives out. I've been teaching him about beekeeping, and then also drop off the new nuke for him, so for his hive expansion. Bees really are flying today. And then what I've done is, you'll take notice this hive here stand. It's higher because of the nukes. I don't have to bend over as low. That's the way I originally designed it. And then I found with honey supers going on top of hives, it's better to lower those stands down. So I took out the last 2 stands that used to have nukes, and I've lowered them down. They're sitting on, they call them cap blocks. They are 4x6 by, I think, 16 inches long, whatever the standard cement block is. It lowers the stand lower to the ground, so when you're putting on multiple honey supers, they're not so high up in the air. Of course, with my new hive lifter, that won't be quite a problem, I don't believe, but we'll see. Now, in the middle of this hive here, there's two frame mating boxes that I made years ago. They're actually medium, for medium frames. I had about 2 extra queens, actually 3, but one of them's going to go in to the nuke that I sell to my friend for a replacement queen to continue on with 12 nukes in the nuke yard, and 2 of them here are spares. I will probably eventually put them into 5-frame, so they've been in there 4 to 5 days, I guess 5 days. So I'll probably get into them and transfer them into 5-frame. They just did not have the time because of the weather conditions at the time. So here's the beginning of my new honey area. I've got 2 honey production hives. You also notice that these next 4 hives are 10-frame deep boxes. I didn't want to spend any money and buy medium boxes. I had these boxes in my storage area, and since I've got the hive lifter to raise these top 10-frame boxes when I go to double deeps up, especially when I'm putting in mite treatments and stuff like that, and probably the top box will be heavy with honey, I'll be able to lift them up without any back strain. So that's why I'm trying that out with this new hive lifter. Hive lifter hopefully is going to really change my life as far as being able to do a lot more things without a lot of stress on my lower back. Here's one of my hives here. The next 3 actually survived the winter. I've got them set up in a demery situation. Of course, all the hives now have been requeened with 2024 queens. I asked my friends up in Canada, James, McNally Bee Farm, and Brad up there with Faith Apiaries, and along with Ian Stepler stopped by, and We all talked on a live stream here several weeks ago. So all my queens in my yard now are all 2024 queens. This hive right here, along with the next two, the one here has the purple boxes. That is the brood chamber. Right above that is a wooden bound queen excluder. The next two boxes, the yellow and the white, are honey supers, and the one on top is a medium brood chamber where I'm cycling cat brood from the two purple boxes up to the top box and replacing that cat brood with open comb, so the queen will continuously lay and increase the population. And because she is continuously laying, she will not want to swarm. Not saying that she wouldn't swarm, but the likelihood is diminished greatly. So that is the principle of my modified Demery. Normally, the original Demery, invented by George Demery in 1892, he would leave the queen with 2 frames of brood, frame of food, and pollen in the bottom, and move everything else upstairs to the top box. But then of course you're going to have multiple queen cells, so I didn't really want the queen cells, so this is what I came up with. So I'll go through this hive today using the hive lifter. I am going to remove the yellow and 2 white boxes off of that hive above the queen excluder as a unit, and you won't have as much bees up into the air because you're not going to disturb them and everything. So I'll go through that when I start using the hive lifter in the video. So here we are. The next 2 hives are survivor hives from the winter, and then here is a nuke. What it is that you can see behind there was a pro nuke. I got in, I transferred the frames, they were deeps, into a deep wooden nuke box, and then I added 2 medium boxes on top that have drawn brood comb from my dead out. And the idea is that the bees will transfer up into the top boxes, and then I can in later time take this whole hive, take out the deep frames, and put everything into medium, and then put on another medium box that has open brood comb in it, so we can grow this hive back into a 3 medium box honey production hive. Here's another 10 frame. Happen to have 10 frame deep boxes, so I actually have made 5 double deep hive setups. Going to see how that works with me as far as the hive lifter, and whether or not it will actually be maybe easier to maintain that hive, especially with the hive lifter. It's all about the hive lifter when it comes to them 10 framers. The next hive in the middle here, it was a queenless hive. It was not a land worker, but it had a lot of bees in it. So I had decided to go ahead and put a mated queen in there in a queen cage. So actually normally I don't have 3 hives on a stand, usually 2, but I figured take the opportunity and maybe actually have an extra honey hive. On my nukes, I forgot to tell you, is that out of the 12, or out of the 9, I guess it was, that I sold, 3 of them requeened themselves prior to me getting mated queens. So I had some extra queens, so that's why this hive got a queen in it. And then here is another nuke that was the nukes that I bought in, and doing the same thing for the next couple boxes here, transitioning from deep frames to medium frames. And then this purple hive in the middle, it is a laying worker. There is no I have found no way of reverting that back to a normal hive. So what I will do is shake those bees out, probably onto a inner cover in front of some of these other weaker hives, and let them bees find a new home. And then here is one of my survivor hives. It's been new queen installed, and this hive here, it's purple. It's the same thing. A new queen has been installed. The hive in the middle there is a dead out. It's just been sitting there for storage, and it's got brood comb in it ready for me to take the hive next door, which is a nuke that will replace this dead out. And I will use the resources out of the dead out in order to transition these hives from deep frames to medium frames, which I normally have. Here's another 2 hives that have survived the winter for me. They were dequeened, and now they've had a new queen in a cage installed, like I say, 5 days ago. They are coming in and flying mighty strong. And both of them have a honey super on. This purple one has 1 with a queen excluder underneath. The yellow hive has a honey super and a brood box up on top. I was switching things around. Actually, I'm not sure, but it might be actually a super. I don't quite remember. Of course, you know, the brood has been hatched out, and now it's up to the new queen to start populating the brood chamber with eggs. And, you know, of course, in about 14 days or so, I'll have some nice cat brood to put upstairs. The only thing that I have found with these hives here, the queens, you could tell that they were slowing down in their laying. You could tell they were starting to put drone brood here, there, and everywhere. These are the signs and things that I've learned this year. Yes, I've lost a lot of my honey crop, but I've learned a great lesson this year about queens, about renewing and putting fresh queens in, no more than 2 years old. Get rid of those queens and put new ones in. And also to look at the brood pattern and the brood chamber area. Is that brood carpet brood, or is that brood have a small amount of carpet brood in there, but it's full of empty holes? Or is it starting to have drone brood being laid out, kind of scattered all over the place? If you start seeing that kind of stuff, that's a sign of a failing queen. Something that I really didn't take notice, but the light bulb has come on in my head this year. And while comparing to my nukes that had queens that were 1 year old or less, where they had 4 to 6 frames of brood that were slab brood, as I call it, where it's just carpet brood across big deep frames. You look at that, and then you look at these other hives where they're sparsely brooded up and lots of drones here, there, and everywhere. That finally the light bulb went off in my head and said, hey, this is signs of failing queens. So I'm taking the advice of all my friends up in Canada who are commercial, along with some friends of mine here in Maryland, or also small commercial operations, along with the folks down in Georgia. That I asked them about what they did. And a lot of these folks, especially the ones who are heavily commercial operations, they are requeening every year. I don't quite plan on doing that, but I will plan on maybe requeening my operation about half of it every year, so I have sort of a rotation. So let's go ahead and get into these hives and check and see whether the queens are released, which I'm pretty sure they are. As you can see over there in my pickup truck, I got the hive lifter in the back. Pretty light, it's aluminum, it's easy to get in the back of my pickup truck for the most part. Brought some supers out, see if anybody needed anything. So let's go ahead and get into the hives. All right, everyone, I've got the hive lifter here. It's in the back of the hive. Just to go over the hive with you, I've got the 2 yellow brood chambers. I have a queen excluder, and the 2 top supers, I believe, are both just honey supers at this time. Queen excluders and down in the yellow box there. I'm going to lift off the white and purple box along with the lead. What I'll have to do is engage the hive lifter into the handholds of the white box, take my hive tool and kind of bust the seals, and then I'll be able to lift it off. So let me go ahead and get that done. I'm going to engage the lifter into the box, and it'll kind of hang there by itself. So I'm going to go ahead and push the button up and raise the arms up above the handholds. I go on an angle and the handholds flop up, and then they engage in the box. Whoop. Like so. Now they're fully engaged. As you can see, the back wheels are up off the ground. The handhold metal pieces are in the box handles. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and break the seal here on the boxes. Like so. All right, the seals are broke. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to press down on the handles here, and with just leverage of the machine, it will raise the box right straight up. I don't really have to worry about using the hydraulic cylinder actually to bring the hive up. So here we go. There it is, it's up. All I got to do is back it back a little bit, and it'll stay in place. Now I can go in here, work the hive. I'm going to go ahead and smoke it a little bit. As you can see, the bees are in the box, in the top box, but they're not really coming out. They're hanging on the bottom, and they're content. There's not a lot of bees up in the air except from off here of the brood chamber area. Here's my frame here with the queen cage on it. And she's been released, which is good. Just pull the cage up off of there. I'm going to go ahead and try to get this rubber band off. Actually, they just busted. You know, the bees do like to eat those rubber bands. I see a couple queen cells, but they're empty. They're still trying to make their own queen. Hopefully the new queen will take over. There is an issue here where I see a lot of nectar being backfilled into the brood chamber. What I think I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to add empty nectar or brood frames in here so she'll have a place to lay, and hopefully she'll get started here in the next few days if she's not already have started. And I'm trying to find whether I see any eggs, and yes, I do see eggs. So she has started. You know, it takes her a little bit of time to kind of get up to speed. But I do see some fresh eggs, probably a couple days old in here. So that's a good sign. And all that. Take a look. That one there's definitely a nectar frame and all. Now, while I'm in here, I am going to add actually I'm going to add it right here, the third one in. Take this wooden frame out. I'm going to add a drone frame. Some drone frames that I had, I went ahead and waxed them up good. And so they can, yeah, it's definitely a nectar frame, as much nectar is kind of falling out. Alright, I went ahead and I got my drone frame. Here it is. It's been heavily waxed. I'm going to put that in the third position. Hopefully the bees will draw out the comb, and that'll give a place for the queen to lay some drone brood. I'm going to go ahead and pop this box up. Just check for any swarm cells. So I've got some cups here. Other than that, it looks pretty good. Hopefully she'll take over and get this hive back up and running. I'm going to go ahead and put the queen excluder back on. I'll get behind the hive lifter here. And then what I'll usually do is when I bring it up, I will set the back corner or back edge right along the queen excluder here and just basically tilt it forward, and it'll sit right down on there. So I just lean it in, kind of line it up. And then I will lower it down some with the hydraulics. It disengages from the box. And it's pretty much done. All I have to do is kind of line it up with the queen excluder. I'm going to go ahead and check the top boxes here now. Like I say, I believe this top one is honey. Yes, it is a honey frame. It is two honey supers up here, and they're putting honey in there. That one there is about 2/3 full. That's looking good. That one there is about half full. I've got 9 frames in here. And the flow is starting to kick in. May is just right a few days away, which is our main honey flow. So we're just going to go and kind of give it a little lift test. It's not overly heavy, but I think it'll be good for now. I might visit back here in the next 3 or 4 days. It's supposed to be 80 degrees for all of next week during the daytime, so hopefully that'll make a lot of trees and whatever start to bloom and give us some more nectar sources. And in that time, hopefully the new queen will continue to lay, and they will continue to bring in honey. Hopefully maybe they'll move a lot of that nectar source out of the brood chamber, so she'll have a much bigger area to lay up with eggs and all. So let's go ahead and we'll move on down here to the next hive and see what that one's doing and make sure that the queen has been released. All right, here's the last hive. I'm going to take off 3 supers. I would say 2 of them are honey supers, and the top one is a brood super. We'll go ahead and break the seal here at the queen excluder. And it's broke just enough. All I got to do is kind of lift up on the handles, and I can tell by the lifter this is pretty heavy boxes. And like I said, it's lifting as a unit, so the bees are not as disturbed. Well, they've already chewed through the rubber band. And the queen is released. So that's good. Yep, completely released. I like to say that right here is the perfect example why I bought this hive lifter. I got 2 honey supers. This is a top brood chamber. By just teeter-tottering it and lifting it up with the hive lifter here, I can definitely tell this thing is really heavy. Instead of me having to move 3 boxes individually and then putting 3 boxes back on and disturbing the bees and getting them all upset, now I can run it where I'm using this unit where I can lift this thing up as a unit. The bees are not disturbed and I don't kill my back. So now I'm just going to go ahead and put the unit right back on there, and we're done. So let's go ahead and get this done. I'm going to go ahead and take this top brood chamber off. One of the highest lifts I've had so far, but I can always lower it down so it's not ready to fall over. Main thing I wanted to do is check this honey super. Best thing to do is just take and break it apart. It's heavy. The bottom one's not quite as heavy. So I'm going to go ahead and put this unit back on. And until next time, please like, subscribe, click the notification bell, share my videos with your friends, and have fun with your bees.